AITA for letting my unfaithful wife's life crumble after calling me furniture? My name is Marcus Reed. I am 38 years old. I am an emergency room nurse at Pacific General Hospital in Los Angeles. And that night, I had just gotten off a 14-hour shift, where a 19-year-old young man passed away on my stretcher, a kid from South LA who had been shot leaving a corner store. I stayed with him as the monitors showed he was gone. I arrived home with that weight on me, looking for my wife to hug her and tell her I needed to cry for a while. She was not there. She did not answer her cell phone. The phone went straight to voicemail, and now she was in the shower singing a Drake song, while the cell phone of the man she was having an affair with lit up my living room. I left the iPad exactly as it was. I did not move it a single centimeter. I took my cell phone out of my pocket and took a picture, then another just in case. Then I opened the bank app and started reviewing the last 3 months of account statements slowly, like someone reviewing an X-ray looking for a fracture. But let me go back, because for this to make sense you have to understand where Natalie and I came from. We met at UCLA. She was studying communications. I was finishing nursing. A mutual friend introduced us at a university afternoon party, one of those where someone brings out a guitar and everyone ends up singing classic rock songs until campus security comes to kick them out. She had a laugh that could be heard from the other side of the courtyard. One of those laughs that cannot be faked. I fell in love right there. Between a strawberry lemonade cup and a bad joke, I told that she celebrated as if it were the best joke in the world. We got married 4 years later in a small ceremony in Santa Barbara with food truck tacos instead of a formal banquet because we did not have money for more and we did not care either. We rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Silver Lake. Nothing luxurious, but ours. We adopted Cooper, a honey-colored Labrador that the shelter had already given up on because he was 5 years old and nobody wanted to adopt an adult dog. Cooper became our son. The first 3 years were good, not perfect, good. The kind where you do not question if the other person is with you, because you feel it in how they hand you coffee in the morning, in how they cover you with a blanket when you fall asleep on the couch, and how they wait up for you when they know you are going to arrive late from a heavy shift. Then came the promotion. Natalie started working at a fairly well-known mid-sized advertising agency with offices in Santa Monica. She started as a junior account executive, earning about $55,000 a year. She worked hard. I'm not going to take that away from her. She lasted 3 years climbing until she was promoted to Director of Strategic Accounts. Her salary jumped to almost $140,000 a year. From one day to the next, she stopped taking the metro and started ordering premium Ubers. She traded the car we shared for a red Mazda on monthly payments. She started buying clothes at Nordstrom in Beverly Hills instead of the usual places, and to be honest, I was proud. I told her many times. I made a special dinner for her when the first paycheck with the raise arrived. I gave her a silver necklace with her initial that cost me about $200 that I did not have, but I paid in interest-free months because I wanted her to know how much I admired her. She wore the necklace twice. After that, I never saw it again. The changes did not happen all at once. They arrived like moisture on a wall, slow, invisible, until one day you realize the whole wall is rotten and you do not know when it happened. First, it was the late arrivals. Dinner with a client, she said. Strategic meeting with the new vice president. At first, I believed her without thinking twice. Then the Fridays that lasted until 2 in the morning started. Then the Thursdays, then the Tuesdays. Team building events, express trips to San Francisco, intensive training in downtown LA. The cell phone, which had always been on the kitchen table charging face up, started living in her purse, and when she left it out, it was always face down. The password we shared since we got married suddenly no longer worked. Company security policy, she told me once without looking back at me. But the corporate cell phone did stay lying in the kitchen all night, charging peacefully untouched. I started noting the charges on the credit card we shared. Boutique Hotel in West Hollywood, $280. Boutique Hotel in Beverly Hills, $320. Boutique Hotel downtown Los Angeles, $260. Always on weeknights. Always at times when she told me via text that she was at a long dinner with the team. Always boutique hotels, the ones that have a rooftop bar and that people use for discreet encounters after work. I cross-checked the dates with the shared Google Calendar, the one that was still synced because she never bothered to remove my access. None of the work events matched, not even one. The agency had not scheduled any team dinner on those dates. The meetings ended at 7 in the evening at the latest. When I tried to talk to her, it was always the same. "Oh, Marcus, I am exhausted." "Oh, Mark, do not start. You just do not understand what it is to have a real career." She told me that last one on a Tuesday night, and it stayed floating in the air like a punch. A real career. I save people's lives every day, literally. I put IVs in children with serious conditions, intubated men with heart attacks, held the hands of moms who had just lost their children. And to her, my job was not a real career because I did not wear high heels or go to meetings in Santa Monica. I swallowed that phrase for weeks. It hurt me in a place where I did not know it could hurt. The Thursday before the iPad night, we had the ugliest fight. I arrived from work, found Cooper without food, his bowl empty and his water dry. Natalie was on the couch with a glass of white wine watching a series on Netflix. I asked her if she had fed the dog. She answered without turning around. "Marcus, I am not your dog's mate. Your dog, not ours. Yours." I served Cooper his food. I refilled his water, sat across from her on the other side of the living room, and said with the calmest voice I could, "Natalie, we need to talk." She rolled her eyes so hard I almost heard the movement. "Again, seriously, again. What do you want me to tell you, Marcus? To ask you for permission to breathe? To report my every step to you? I am already sick of your insecurity. It is exhausting." "It is not insecurity. It is that you arrive at 2 in the morning with your cell phone off, smelling of men's cologne." She jumped up from the couch. Her glass of wine spilled on the rug, and she did not even look at it. "You know what, Marcus? The problem is that you stayed behind. You stayed exactly where you were 5 years ago, and I grew. I became someone, and you are still there in your blue hospital scrubs, and your steady salary, and your dog, and your routine. You are replaceable, did you hear me? You are a piece of furniture, something I inherited from the old Natalie, and that no longer matches the new decoration of my life." I stayed quiet. Cooper, who was lying near the table, stood up and came to glue himself to my legs. He felt the tension in the air. Dogs always feel it first. She grabbed her purse, a Michael Kors purse they had given her at the office for her quarterly results, and left slamming the door. She came back at 3:30 singing in the shower, and the iPad lit up. I took the pictures, saved them in a cloud folder with a name she would never guess. I took 3 deep breaths, like I do before entering a code blue in the ER, where you have to keep a cool head or the patient suffers. Then, calmly, I stood up from the couch, went to the closet, took out my sports duffel bag, the black one, the one I use when I have weekend shifts, and I started packing clothes, 3 sets of scrubs, 5 pairs of underwear, socks, my spare sneakers, my toothbrush, my razor, my cell phone charger. I packed my professional license, my passport, my important papers that I kept in a folder in the bottom drawer. Cooper watched me from the bedroom door with his head tilted. "We are leaving, buddy," I told him softly. "You and me. Grab your leash." He understood. I do not know how, but he understood. He went to the living room, grabbed his leash with his mouth, and came back wagging his tail. I went to the kitchen to take out his bag of kibble, his bowl, his 2 favorite toys, and there on the counter was Natalie's Michael Kors purse, open with her wallet peeking out, and the Mazda keys thrown next to it. I did not touch it, but Cooper, who is a good, kind dog, who has never broken a shoe in his life, stood in front of the counter and stared at the purse. He let out a low growl, a growl I had never heard from him before, and then he jumped. It was not on my part. I swear on my mother that I did not say anything to him. Cooper jumped, grabbed the purse with his mouth, pulled it to the floor, and started shaking it as if it were a rat. The leather began to give way, the seams burst, the wallet flew out, the Mazda keys jingled against the tile floor. I stood there with the bag of kibble in my hand, watching the calmest dog in the world turn into a silent force destroying $1,200 of Italian leather. And I am going to be honest, I did not stop him. I stood there like a statue, watching my dog express everything I could not express. Pure, clean, canine rage, without resentment, without calculation, pure organic consequence. The shower was still running. Natalie was still singing. When Cooper finished, the purse was confetti, pieces of brown leather with gold hardware scattered all over the kitchen. The wallet was intact, the keys too. Only the purse was destroyed. "Good boy," I whispered to him. "Come on, let's go." I put his leash on, grabbed my bag, grabbed the bag of kibble, left my copy of the apartment key on the dining room table, On top of a note, I wrote with a steady hand on a napkin. Derek has a message for you from 352. I have it too. You no longer need me. I am gone. I closed the door slowly. I did not slam it. I was not dramatic. I just closed it. I walked down the stairs with Cooper behind me, wagging his tail as if we were going for a walk to the park. I put my things in the trunk of my old Honda Civic, the one Natalie said she was embarrassed to be seen getting out of, and I drove off. It was 4:10 in the morning. I arrived at my buddy Jake's house in Echo Park around 4:30. I sent him a message from the car. I need to stay with you for a few days. I have Cooper with me. I will explain in person. He answered in 2 minutes. The door is open. There is beer in the fridge. Jake is the kind of friend you have since middle school and who needs no explanations. He opened the door in his underwear with his hair sticking up, patted Cooper on the head, hugged me without asking anything, poured me a whiskey I did not ask for, and told me, "Go to sleep. We will talk tomorrow." I slept 3 hours. I dreamed about the young man from South LA whose hand I stayed with as he passed on me. I woke up at 8. I showered, went to my hospital shift as if nothing had happened, because in my job personal drama does not exist. There are people in crisis, and you have to be there present, competent, without trembling. On my lunch break, I took out my laptop in the hospital cafeteria and started first with the cell phone plan. The line was under my name because I had a better credit history. I canceled her line. Verizon asked me for text confirmation. I confirmed it. Done. 10 minutes. Then the passwords Netflix, Spotify, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount, Amazon Prime. All those accounts were in my name with my card. I changed the passwords for all of them. I deleted her profile, downloaded the playlists I liked, told Amazon that the next order should arrive at Jake's house. Then the car insurance. The Mazda was under both our names, but I paid the insurance from my account. I canceled it. Let her renew it with her new money. Let her explain at the agency why her Mazda no longer had coverage. The FasTrack tag was in my name. I blocked it. The next time she tried to go to Santa Barbara with Derek, the vice president, she would have to pay tolls in cash like regular people. The shared credit card. I called Bank of America. I told them I was getting a divorce. I asked them to remove her as an authorized user. They did it. The gym in Santa Monica, where she trained, courtesy of my hospital family plan, canceled. Every single thing, every little comfort that I had been building around her like an invisible safety net, I dismantled with the same calm with which I prepare an emergency intubation kit. Clinical, methodical, without anger, just precision. When I finished, it was 2:30 in the afternoon. I went back to the ER. I treated a lady with a hypertensive crisis. I put in 4 in a boy with severe dehydration. I took the blood pressure of a grandpa the family had brought in because he was slipping away. I saved the ones that could be saved. I accompanied the ones that could not. At 5 in the afternoon, the messages started raining in. First, where are you? Then, Marcus, please, this is ridiculous. Then, you cancel my line. Seriously. Then, you are a mediocre loser. You always were. Then, 2 hours later, from an unknown number, some friend's cell phone, I guessed, Mark, love, let's talk. It was an ugly fight, but we can fix it. I love you, please. I answered none. That same week, I went into the apartment on a Saturday morning when I knew she was at a mandatory meeting. I took my books, my console, my acoustic guitar that I did not even play well, but that was mine, the pictures of my mom. May she rest in peace. Cooper's things that I was missing. I left her everything else, the furniture, the TV, the dishes we bought together at Nordstrom, even the new couch. I left it all for her to keep. I rented a small apartment in the Echo Park neighborhood, 10 minutes from the hospital, $1,200 a month, 1 bedroom, living dining room, fitted kitchen, a little balcony where Cooper could sunbathe. It was not luxurious, it was mine, and it was enough. I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. A lawyer recommended to me by a doctor at the hospital charged me $3,000 to handle everything. I handed him my folder of evidence, the hotel charges, the iPad photos, the cross-reference dates with the calendar, Derek's messages. The lawyer looked at them, raised his eyebrows and told me, she is not going to fight anything with this. Believe me. 3 days after slamming the door, I ran into Kayla at a Starbucks near the hospital. Kayla is a friend of both of us from our UCLA days, a good person, but with a loose tongue. Mark, she told me with that face of, they already told me everything, but I want to hear it from you. Natalie called me yesterday. She told me you were having anxiety attacks, that you were controlling her, that you were jealous for no reason, that she was putting up with a lot for you, but she just could not take it anymore. She asked me to check on you, to see if you needed psychological help. I froze with the coffee in my hand. Oh, so that was the plan. She was building the narrative in advance. She was vaccinating our friends and acquaintances so that when everything blew up, they would already have in their heads that the unstable one was me, that she was the suffering wife who put up with a controlling and jealous husband, that the separation was not due to her inappropriate relationship, but to my supposed mental instability. It was brilliant, and if I did not do something, it was going to work. Kayla, I told her very calmly, I appreciate you telling me. I am going to ask you a favor. Do not defend me. Do not attack her. Just listen to what I am going to tell you. Natalie and I are getting divorced because she was having an affair with her boss, the vice president of the agency, a guy named Derek. I have proof. I have photos. I have receipts. If you ever want to see them, I will show them to you. But for now, I just wanted you to know that the story they are telling you is not what happened. Kayla went mute, paid for her coffee, hugged me, and left without saying another word. The next day, half of the UCLA friend group knew the real version. Natalie lost her audience in less than 48 hours, but I did not let my guard down. I went to the hospital, asked to speak with the nursing director, a serious woman with whom I had a good relationship. I explained my personal situation in 5 minutes. I told her I was going through a divorce, that my ex was slandering me, and that I wanted it to be on my record that I had proactively reported the situation, so that if anyone called the hospital asking about my mental health or my stability, she would know the context. The director wrote everything down. She thanked me for my transparency. She said, "Marcus, you are one of the most stable nurses we have. Nobody here is going to doubt you." I left that meeting with a sense of peace I had not felt in months. The divorce was signed in 4.5 months. Natalie did not fight anything, not a single dollar, not a piece of furniture, nothing, because fighting meant the judge was going to see the evidence, and the evidence was radioactive. She signed with a clenched jaw and left without looking back at me. I waited 3 more weeks after the signing. Exactly 3 weeks. Then I opened a new anonymous email account from a public network on a VPS. I wrote to the ethics mailbox of the advertising agency where Derek worked. A short, professional, emotionless email. Subject, Code of Ethics Violation. Undeclared relationship between Vice President Derek Klein and his direct subordinate, Strategic Accounts Director, Natalie Reed. In the body, I attached the photos that already existed on public social networks of the two of them at company events where they looked too close, the hotel receipts with dates that coincided with fictitious work nights. The timeline of Natalie's promotion that occurred 2 months after Derek joined as her direct boss, and a mention of the internal regulation article that requires declaring relationships between bosses and subordinates in less than 30 days. I sent the email, closed the laptop, went home, fed Cooper. I slept 8 hours for the first time in a long time. For 3 weeks, nothing happened. I started thinking the email had gotten lost in the system or they had ignored it. I did not care. I had done it for me, not for a specific result. One Wednesday, my buddy Jake sent me a message. "Dude, did you hear? Natalie and her boss both got fired yesterday." The vice president was asked to resign with severance. She was fired with nothing for violating the code of ethics. My wife's cousin works there. She just told me everything. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I answered, "Wow, that is heavy. Thanks for the heads up. Did you have anything to do with it?" He asked me later on a call. "Why do you think I did?" I answered, "Because I know you, man. And because only you would wait until the divorce was signed to drop the bomb." I laughed. I did not answer yes or no. Jake laughed too. "Well done, buddy. Well done." In the following weeks, I found out the rest from third parties. Derek, the vice president, was married. He had 2 kids in Beverly Hills. His wife found out about the affair because the agency's legal department contacted her during the internal investigation. She hit him with a fierce divorce. She kept the house, the car, the savings accounts. The divorce cost him dearly. He was left in debt. His advertising career in Los Angeles was practically dead. In a small industry where everyone knows everyone, being fired for a serious ethics violation with a subordinate is a stain that does not wash off. He went to Austin to try to start from scratch in a much smaller agency. Natalie took 7 months to find another job. Nobody in advertising wanted her. Agencies call agencies, and her last reference was dismissed for serious misconduct. She ended up accepting a marketing assistant position in a cosmetics store in the Valley, earning $38,000 a year, from $140,000 to $38,000. From the red Mazda to buses and the metro again. From Santa Monica to a shared apartment with 2 roommates in the Koreatown neighborhood. I did not celebrate. Seriously, I did not toast. I did not talk badly about her with my friends. I did not check her social media to see how she was falling. I just kept working. I kept taking care of Cooper. I kept going to the gym. I learned how to really cook, not just heat things up in the microwave. I re-enrolled in a pediatric emergency specialization course that I had wanted to do for 2 years. I was promoted to ER shift supervisor. My salary went up to $75,000 a year, plus bonuses. A year and a half later, I bought a little house in Pasadena with a patio. Cooper fell in love with the patio. He would lie in the sun for hours, wagging his tail in his sleep. The hardest part of all was not missing her. It was unlearning the gaslighting. It was learning to trust my instincts again. It was accepting that asking your partner to answer their cell phone at 2 in the morning is not being controlling. It is being human. It took me a whole year in therapy with an excellent psychologist to dismantle, pebble by pebble, the idea she had planted in me that I was the problem. 2 years and 3 months after that early morning, I was eating alone at a taco spot in Los Feliz, one of those plastic tables with yellow napkins. I had just gotten off a brutal shift. I was starving. I ordered 2 tacos and a beef broth. Then I saw her. Natalie alone, at a corner table eating soup. Thinner, more tired, with her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup. She was wearing a uniform from her cosmetics store. She saw me too. She froze with her spoon halfway up. I could have left. I could have changed tables. I did not. I sat in my usual spot. I opened my cell phone, ordered my food, ignored her, but she stood up. She walked towards me, stood in front of my table with her hands crossed in front of her. "Marcus," she said softly, "can I sit for a moment?" I looked up, looked at her. I did not feel anything anymore. No anger, no sadness, no nostalgia. Just a clinical observation, like when you see a patient you met years ago and you do not fully recognize them anymore. "Go ahead." She sat down. She took a few seconds to speak. Her hands were trembling a little. "I wanted to tell you I am sorry. I know it is late. I know it probably means nothing, but I was wrong. I was very wrong to you, and I want you to know that." I listened to her. I waited. "Is that all?" I asked her. "Yes. No. I mean, I know I paid dearly for what I did. I lost my job. I lost my career. I lost everything. But what hurts me the most is not that. What hurts me the most is having lost you, because you were the only one who truly loved me well. To you I stopped her slowly. "Natalie, I am going to tell you one thing, and I am going to tell you only once." She looked up. I was the one who sent the anonymous email to the agency. Her eyes widened. The spoon she had in her hand dropped onto the table with a dull thud. I sent the proof, the photos, the receipts, the dates. I waited 3 weeks after the divorce was signed, and I sent it. I did not do it out of anger. I did it because you deserve to live with the real consequences of the decisions you made, not with a light version where nobody finds out. And because I was not going to allow you to go around telling people that I was the unstable, controlling one. She turned white, then red. Then the tears, not tears of sadness, tears of rage. "You are. Yes, but I am the one who worked like crazy for 2 years to build a life for you. The one who held you when you cried because your previous boss mistreated you. The one who brought you chicken soup when you got sick. The one who carried everything so you could shine. And you told me I was a piece of furniture. I took the last spoonful of my beef broth. I left the exact money for my bill on the table with a tip. I wish you well, Natalie. Really, take care of yourself." I stood up. I did not look back. I walked to my car, started it, and drove to my little house in Pasadena, where Cooper was waiting for me with his tail wagging a mile a minute, because my friend, the best in the world, does not understand betrayals or divorces. He only understands that I came back, and that is enough. That night, I took him out to the patio. I sat on the steps. He lay down next to me with his head on my leg. The Pasadena sky was clear. You could see 2 or 3 stars despite the city lights. And for the first time in a long time, I felt that my house was my house, that my life was my life, that I was nobody's piece of furniture. I was simply me, and that was already more than enough. Comment: this story really stayed with me. I've come to realize how important it is to truly value ourselves and protect our self-respect. Setting clear boundaries in relationships is an act of self-love, not selfishness. Taking full responsibility for our own healing can be difficult, but it's incredibly freeing. Sometimes, choosing peace means walking away from what no longer serves us. I hope this encourages you to look at your own life and ask yourself what you truly deserve. Being kind to yourself during tough times is one of the most powerful things you can do. Remember that your peace and well-being are worth fighting for. Healing takes time, patience, and courage, but you are capable of it. You've got this, and I'm truly rooting for you. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.